Welcome to Inspiration and Transformation from the Banks of the Ganga with Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, an American sannyasi living at the Parmarth Niketan Ashram in Rishikesh, India. Sadhvi is president of the Divine Shakti Foundation, a charitable organization bringing education, vocational training, upliftment, and empowerment programs to women and children. Sadhvi is also Secretary General of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance and Director of the world-famous International Yoga Festival. Join the musings of an American sannyasi as Sadhvi shares the wisdom and teachings of her guru, His Holiness Pujya Swami Chidanand Saraswatiji.
Welcome everyone to Inspiration and Transformation from the holy banks of the sacred Ganga River in the land of Rishikesh, India. How can I continue to grow spiritually every day? On a personal level, I think of it more as an unfolding. When I think of growth, I think of actually going somewhere. So I think of a tree getting taller, or a child getting taller, or something actually getting larger in size. And for me, spiritual growth feels much more like an unfolding, an expansion of space rather than an expansion of matter. So growth feels like an expansion of matter. I've eaten a lot of food, my stomach has grown. I'm a growing kid, I've eaten good food, I've taken my vitamins, my body has grown in size. Whereas spiritually, for me, it feels like the more I grow, the less matter there is, and the more spaciousness there is. So it feels much more like an unfolding than a growth. And I think the way to do it is to just keep remembering, to just keep going back, because remember that Spirit is the truth of who we are. It's not like saying, how can I become a better physicist every day? Or how can I become a better mathematician every day? Or a better expert in Shakespearean literature every day? For those sorts of things, you actually would have to attain knowledge that isn't already self. You read it, you learn it, you get better at it. But spirituality is who we are. So it's going back to the truth of who we are. It's letting go of that which we are not, re-anchoring in that which we are, and unfolding the constraints of who we think we are. So a lot of us live in boxes. We call them labels, or identities, or personalities. Every time you say, I am like that, that's just how I am. Or, well, let me tell you something about myself. And you go into your likes, your dislikes, your history, your experiences, your thoughts, your beliefs, your dreams. It's a box. It's a label that we call identity or personality. Spirituality is actually letting go of that. Not saying it's bad or wrong. I mean, it's beautiful to have a place that you come from. It's beautiful to love that place. It's beautiful to love the family into which you were born, the people you know. I mean, there's nothing bad about this. As long as we don't identify it as self. As long as you're able to think about it more like, oh, that really nice factory that my vehicle was manufactured in, like those really nice people who put together the parts of this vehicle. But who we are isn't the body. It's not that which was manufactured somewhere, put together someplace, impacted in some way, dented in some way. Right? If I were to say, tell me about your car, especially if you've got an old one that you love, you'd say, so this dent came from that time that I was parked here, and this is what happened, or this little ding came from this, and I remember, this little knob from my hubcap was taken off here, and this. It's stories, but it's stories about a vehicle. And that's how most of us live our lives, is stories about the vehicle. When I was 5, when I was 10, bless you, when I was 20. This is what happened in that place. This is what happened in this place. Here's where I got dented and dinged and damaged. And spirituality is about realizing I have this beautiful body. This beautiful body has had so many beautiful experiences that have shaped it. And we don't negate the body, we love the body. The body is the means through which we are able to interact with this extraordinary creation. The beauty of creation, the sights, the sounds, watching Ganga, watching a sunrise, hugging a loved one, drinking a cup of cool water on a hot day, listening to exquisite music, seeing beautiful artwork. Like this is physical body interacting with creation. If we didn't have a body, we wouldn't be able to do any of that. So we love the body, but we let go of the sense that we are the body. And so spirituality is just coming back over and over again to I am spirit. I am spirit. I am spirit. It's what spirituality literally means. Of spirit, pertaining to spirit. Remembering we are spirit. And so to unfold spiritually is to break through, not violently, but just gently, like the petals of a flower open, or like the skin of, I was going to say snakes, but we do it too. Just slough off, old skin just sloughs off. So we let go of that which is old and untrue in order to awaken into that which is true. And the best way to do it is to just keep reminding yourself. Every time you get stuck, oh my God, I can't believe I gained weight over the holidays. I should not have eaten all of that cake. I cannot believe it. I am fat and ugly. Oh my God, my hair, what is wrong with it? I never should have gone to that salon that she sent me to. Oh, I'll never believe her again. Or, God, I wish I had this type of career, relationship, bank balance, popularity, talent, intellect. Anything that we are wishing that we had, that we see that someone else seems to have, some way that we feel like we are lacking, we just come back. Because all of those are identifications with physical body, brain, which is also physical body, stories of the physical body, of the brain. And we just keep coming back to, I'm spirit. I'm spirit. I'm spirit. We don't get mad at ourselves. We don't say, oh, you're so stupid, so you'll never get this spirituality thing done. Because again, see, that's a product of mind criticizing mind. It's brain cells criticizing brain cells. Physical body. But we come back to I am spirit. And as we do that, and a beautiful way to expand is to practice seeing it in others. As you meet others, what most of us do when we meet each other is immediately the brains form a concept. Beautiful, ugly. Potential sexual partner, not a potential sexual partner. Potential benefit in some way of my life, not a potential benefit. Potential hindrance, a hurdle. Old, young, male, female, rich, poor. Successful, not successful, beautiful, ugly. We make all of these immediate judgments. But instead of that, if you can start to train yourself when you meet someone to just say, spirit, spirit, spirit. Like I could give you water in 1,000 different types of glasses, but every time you'd understand water. Wherever you got water in the world, you understand it's water. I could serve you water in a champagne glass, you'd know it's water. I could serve it in an earthen pot, you'd know it's water. I could serve it to you in a plastic bucket, you'd know it's water. Because we're familiar with water. And so as we get familiar with spirit, we start to recognize it wherever we look. So a beautiful way to expand is just whomever you meet, and not only humans, animals, plants. Spirit. 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 And it shifts how you move through the world. And yes, it makes you grow and expand in energy, in awareness. But it also changes your every minute and every moment experience in a body here on earth. Because it changes the nature of your interactions. So instead of being one object meeting another object, you're spirit meeting spirit. And it makes even the most mundane interactions or frustrating interactions an opportunity for a beautiful spiritual flowering.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Alaya, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit rain.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Welcome back to Inspiration and Transformation. I'm so glad to have you all back here with me. So remember that spirituality is remembering that you are a spirit. It's not about how much salt should be in food or how the dishwasher should be loaded or who should have to take out the trash. A lot of times we get into conflict that really is ego to ego conflict. But as beings who like to give ourselves spiritual stamps of approval, we'll call things spiritual. We'll sort of co-opt spirituality as though spirit were on my side and not your side. And that we're only having this conflict because I am a spiritual being and you are not. And therefore, you should defer to what I say about how the dishwasher should be loaded, or how we should dress, or how we should eat, or how we should live. Spirituality is, I live committed to remembering that I am spirit. Which means committed to remembering that you are spirit. Which means when that person I'm living with is acting out of what I can see is ego, is fear, is confusion, is desire, is ignorance, is different aspects of their karmic package. Well, I'm going to be able to see that with clarity and compassion. And I'm going to look at the spirit in them from the place of spirit in me, instead of allowing their ego to trigger my ego. Otherwise, what happens is we get triggered, and then we lose ourselves. And so the best way to handle it is to just keep going back to your own spiritual practice. Now, there will be times when there are sources of conflict. Spirituality never says to jam something down someone else's throat. Spirituality is not about proselytization. It is not about conversion. It is not about convincing others. It's not about winning fights. It's about a way to live. And so you don't have to convince others that you are right. If you're really living a spiritual life, you become like a magnet. You know, one of my favorite metaphors of this is, if you and I are each holding on to opposite ends of a rope, right? Imagine that we're each pulling ends of a rope. Now, there's a lot of actual tension in that rope, right? We're each pulling. Now, in order to render that rope free of all tension, only one of us has to let go. It's a beautiful, beautiful teaching about tension in the world. We don't actually both have to let go, only one of us does. Which means in conflict between people, it's the same thing. Most of us think, well, 50-50, right? I mean, I'll apologize if you apologize. I'll accept my part, you accept your part. I'll forgive you, you forgive me. And until and unless you do your part, I can't do my part, which means that I can't live in peace. But that isn't true. All I have to do is let go of my end of the rope. I hereby let go of an attachment to how the dishwasher is loaded, how anybody else is dressing, how anybody else is living, what TV anybody else is watching. I let go of my end of the rope. Boom, end of tension. They may continue to do whatever they are doing, but that tension isn't there. The tension is only there because I want something different. And as a spiritual being, I may convince myself I want it because it's good for them. Right? As spiritual beings, we have a very unique sort of ego. Because what we want it because we always say, well, it's better for you. I'm just thinking for you. Right? But that isn't really honoring each other's karmic incarnation. Spirituality never said that we have dominion over someone else's life. Only over our own. So if you can let go of your end of the cord of tension, the clashes end. That's in the family. Now back to the workplace for a moment, because family in a lot of cases, we don't have a lot of options around. Until and unless you are prepared or you need, for whatever reason, to actually leave a family situation, which is usually not the recommended course. It's not that it never is, it just usually isn't. We do really have to learn how to adapt. But workplace situations, not always. Meaning, if it's just a matter with different colleagues or coworkers, yeah, take it as part of your spiritual work. Take it as part of that which the universe is giving you to help you grow and learn. But if it's something very core, I've had a lot of people come in and say, I've got a big spiritual clash with the company I'm working for, or the values of the company I'm working for. How can I overcome that? And the truth is that in a lot of cases, in those situations, the answer is to find yourself a different company. Because as spiritual people, you're going to have a really hard time getting up and going to work every day for a company that is making money harming the environment, that's spewing waste into the air, into the ground, that's engaging child labor, sweatshops, that's subjugating people, that's causing ripple effects of harm across the world, as tragically far too many of our corporations do. And so in situations like that, it's really about how can I have the courage, the faith in the universe to know that there will be food on my table, even if I stop working for this particular corporation that is wreaking havoc in the world. So those are actually situations in which, as a spiritual being, you need to dive within for the courage to live your truth. To say, I know I may be being paid a lot of money, I've got a lot of perks, I've got a lot of seniority, maybe I'm next in line for senior VP. But at the end of the day, the karmic fruit that's coming my way, based on what is happening through this company, it's not worth it. And so you change. So in the workplace, it depends where the clash is. Interpersonal stuff, take it as sadhana. Values of the actual company you are supporting, issues of violence, of harm, find a place that you can put your time and energy into that's actually helping to heal the world rather than hurt it. You're not a slave. A lot of us think we are. We feel like slaves to our place of business, because we've been so terrified into thinking that somehow I won't have money to eat if I don't, punch my time card here. But you will. You will. There's plenty of organizations that'll help you put food on your table, but also help fill your heart.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Like Baldwin with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I grew up loving circuses and other traveling animal shows, but it never occurred to me what life might be like for the animals. Training wild animals to do things they don't understand takes force. Routine discipline with a hook or whip with the heel of a boot shows the animal exactly who's the boss. Don't patronize animal acts. Please contact People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
757-622-PETA.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with Inspiration and Transformation. According to our scriptures, according to our spiritual tradition, the highest goal of human life is enlightenment, moksha, liberation, freedom. The experiential awareness of the truth of who you are, that you are one with God. Now, it may happen in this lifetime. It may happen next lifetime. The universe is infinitely patient. Because, of course, all of that keeping us from that is ignorance, is ego, is illusion, is attachment, is all of that sticky stuff, Maya, that keeps us convinced that we are this physical body, that we are our stories, our dramas, our histories. But the ultimate goal, success, is moksha. Now, mistakenly, a lot of people think that moksha is that which you get only after you die. And people will say, when I drop the body, then I will have moksha. But the truth is, it's not the body keeping you from freedom. Nobody is not enlightened because of their elbows or their knees or their any part of the body. There's nothing in the physical body keeping us from being absolutely liberated. It's the mind. And here's the great tragic irony of the cycle of birth and death, of reincarnation, is the mind comes with you. Right? That's the sort of gotcha of the universe, is that people think, well, I'll just live this life in illusion and desire and lust and greed and all of that. And anyway, once I drop the body, I'll have freedom anyway. And the mind actually travels with you. Man, buddhi, ahankar. The subtle body that travels with the soul, with Atma. Man, buddhi, ahankar. The mind, the intellect, the ego. It comes with us. Don't think that when you lose this body and get a new one, that you're going to be free of your ego. It comes with you. So you may say, well, I think I'll wait to start my spiritual practice till next life. No problem. The universe is infinitely patient. But remember that you're starting with the same material. It's not like you get to say, well, I'll have what's behind door number 2. This is coming with you. The beauty of that is all of the sadhana that you do. And a lot of us, we sit to meditate. And then the mind wanders, right? And we bring it back. The next thing we know, it's in the middle of some violence, or it's in the middle of some sex, or it's in the middle of some food, or it's in the middle of some grudge, or it's in the middle, and then we bring it back. And then we find there's the mind again. And we may get frustrated and say, my God, it's never going to work for me. But the good news is that all of that which you've done, these impressions upon the mind of your meditation, of your yoga, of your seva, whether you actually attain enlightenment, moksha in this life or not, that goes with you as well. All of those impressions upon your mind, the work you do with your ego, that comes with you too. So that's the official version of what is a successful life. Attain moksha, get liberated, have enlightenment. But I would add something else to that, which may be somewhat more of a low-hanging fruit, let's say. For those of us who got started on the path a little bit late in life, I would say on a personal level that success is being able to live in love in as many moments of your life as you possibly can. Because what I have found is that love gives us everything else. The happiness, the peace, the meaning in life, the fulfillment, it all comes with love. The dilemma for most of us is that we attach that love simply to another human being. And then when that human being acts the way we want them to act, we're happy and in love. They don't, we're not. But there's a very beautiful line that Pujya Swamiji sings in the Aarti each evening in the Kirtan that he leads that says, Sabse unchi prem sagai. And it means the highest form of love is love for God. And I think that the more moments you can live of life in love for God, and it doesn't matter whether for you there's a name or a form of God, or whether it's just spirit and divinity or source, your true self. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you connect to it. But that ability to live in every moment anchored in love for that moment, for the divine presence of that moment. I think that gives you everything else that we look for. Because what you see is people have a lot of money. They have a lot of success, but they don't actually have happiness. There's a great story of a woman who's home alone one day. And these three guys show up on her doorstep. She opens the door and one of them introduces himself and he says, hello, my name is Love, and with me are success and wealth. Can we come inside? She says, yes, yes, of course. And they say, oh, but wait, is your husband home? It's traditional India, bear with us. And she says, no. And they say, okay, well then we'll wait outside till your husband comes home. We'll sit in the yard. So the three of them sit in the yard, and eventually her husband comes home and she tells him what's happened. And they go to allow the men in, but then Love tells them, forgot to mention, only one of us can enter your house. Discuss amongst yourselves and tell us which of us you want to invite in. So the wife says, I think we should invite in success. Because if we invite in success, then our son is going to get admitted into that university he's trying to get admitted to. And then he's going to get the best job, and then he will be so happy, and we will all be taken care of. The husband says, well, yeah, that's true, but if we invited wealth in, then we'd already be set. It wouldn't matter what university he got into. It wouldn't matter what job he got. And we wouldn't have to wait. We'd have money from right now. She says, yeah, you're right. But then their daughter says, Mom, Dad, respectfully, I would say let's invite love in. Because no matter whether my brother gets into this university or not, no matter whether we've got money or not, if we have love, then we'll all be happy. So her parents are slightly embarrassed, and they see her wisdom, and they go to the door and they say, okay, love, you can enter the house. So love stands up and he starts walking toward the doorway. And as he's just crossing the threshold of the doorway, the other two follow him. And the woman says, wait, I'm so sorry. But we've chosen love, and as you said, only one can come in, so we're going to have to not let you in. And love says, Mataji, that would have been true if you had chosen success or wealth. They would have had to enter alone. But wherever love goes, success and wealth always follow. So I love that story. And I think it's really true that the more we can live in love, love for the truth of who we are, our capital S self, love for the capital S self of others, not the ways that their own particular karmic drama may be unfolding in ignorance or greed or jealousy or competition or annoyance or obnoxiousness or whatever it may be, but love for that capital S self of them. And love for the presence of that divine spirit in every tree, in every blade of grass, in every minute of our lives. And it's so available. I mean, there's nothing you have to do, nothing you have to own, nowhere you have to go. I mean, you just look at the stars, or you look at the trees, or you look at each other. Or you close your eyes and you put your hands on your heart and you just feel. You feel that presence of love in yourself. And I think the more minutes of your life you can live like that, the more of a success your life is. You end up with moksha, congratulations. But if not, at least you get to spend next life in love again.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Like Baldwin with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I grew up loving circuses and other traveling animal shows, but it never occurred to me what life might be like for the animals. Training wild animals to do things they don't understand takes force. Routine discipline with a hook or whip with the heel of a boot shows the animal exactly who's the boss. Don't patronize animal acts. Please contact People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
757-622-PETA.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with Inspiration and Transformation. What is wisdom? And how do we gain it? I think the greatest wisdom, and it's actually, as I think about it, it's a beautiful question for the eve before Mahashivratri. Because I think the greatest wisdom is being able to see the difference between truth and falsehood. Everything else is secondary. Whatever knowledge you may accumulate, whatever skills you may accumulate, abilities, facts and figures, whatever it may be, it's all secondary to actually knowing the difference between truth and falsehood. Because the inability to know the difference is actually that which leads to suffering. When we live in falsehood, thinking that we are something we are not, thinking that something is true which is not true, we suffer. And that's the core of this teaching of realizing that we are not the body. This teaching that you'll hear so frequently from me, from the scriptures, from so many different spiritual books and sages and saints and yogis. I mean, it's a core teaching is remember, you have a body, but you're not the body. You have a history, you are not your history. You have a whole drama around the body, where it's been, what's happened to it, what it's done, what its relationships are, all of that. But you aren't that. You are soul. You are spirit. You are consciousness. You are love. You are truth. Right? So that core truth of stop identifying as the body, which is false, and start identifying as the true self, which is true, is the end of suffering. It's not just that we should know it because it's a good thing to know. It's not just know it because the scriptures say, thou shalt know this. It's know it because if you don't know it, you suffer. All of that we suffer from in life comes from that core ignorance that says, I am my body. What's happened to it? Who did what to it? Who betrayed it? Who abused it? Who lied to it? Who cheated it? Who harmed it in some way? Physically, emotionally, financially, psychologically, so many ways. We identify as that. And so we suffer. I was sharing the other evening in the Ganga Arti last week about how when I was in America in January, I was back visiting and I had seen on the back of buses, you know, they use buses as billboards basically. And on the back of a bus, I saw this big banner, big advertisement for some law firm that said, whohurtyou.com. Call us. Not a joke, true story. whohurtyou.com. And I thought, wow, like what a perfect and beautiful example of the difference between the cultures. It's not that here in India we're saying, oh, no problem, you can be hurt, that's okay, be a doormat. Nobody's saying that. But we're saying your focus, your attention, your intention, your identification should be on discovering that within you which was not hurt. Discovering that within you which never could be hurt. Rather than putting your attention and intention. I mean, you see that the billboard and everybody's mind starts thinking, God, I must have been hurt by somebody at some point. I mean, God, they look like a good law firm. Maybe I'll get some money for it, you know. And suddenly your mind starts going, who hurt me? Right? And I thought, God, thank God. I now live in a world where the emphasis is on let it go. Not because you're a doormat, not because people should walk around abusing and betraying and cheating others, but because when you hold on to it, it keeps you stuck. It prevents you from living in freedom. So, as far as wisdom, I think the core wisdom is being able to shift from falsehood to truth, from identifying as the one who was harmed or cheated or betrayed or hurt in some way, as the one who is a certain size or shape or color or race or religion or sexual orientation or certain bank account or career or job or relationships, and shifting into the awareness of who we really are. It's that beautiful mantra that we chant, that core Vedic mantra of asatoma sadgamaya, tamsoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya, which means, oh God, lead us from falsehood. What falsehood? The falsehood of our separation from the divine. The falsehood of thinking that we are this body. Into the truth of our oneness, our inseparableness from the divine. Lead us from darkness to light. Tamsoma jyotirgamaya. Which darkness? The darkness of ignorance, in which we suffer and bring suffering to others. Into the light of truth, in which we move from suffering. Lead us from that false identification with that which perishes, that which is born, that which changes, that which dies, means the body. To the true identification as soul. That which is never born, that which never changes, that which never dies. So I think that's the greatest wisdom. And as I began, it's so perfect of a question on the eve of Shivratri, which of course we'll talk more about tomorrow, and we'll have a special Mahashivratri meditation tomorrow and a special ceremony, because when we speak about Shiva, one of the names or ways that Lord Shiva is spoken about is the third-eyed one, the one with three eyes, the one of the third eye. And this energy center, what's called the Agya Chakra, is the energy center of that power of discrimination, the ability to see truth from falsehood. It's why we meditate on the third eye. It's why we put the tilak here. It's not just, makeup for sannyasis. It's there for a reason. It's there to remind us every day, oh God, let me use this eye to see, which enables me to see truth from falsehood. Meaning, these two eyes are very good at seeing form. I can look around and I can say man and woman and boy and girl and tall and short and thin and wide and dark and fair and old and young. That's objects. I'm just seeing form, seeing objects. See myself as an object, see others as objects, see the space between us as empty space. This eye sees content. Form keeps changing. Fat, thin, tall, short, old, it all keeps changing. Those who are old eventually perish, become young. Those who are young become old. The form keeps changing. The content does not. The third eye is that which sees content. It means it sees the divine in all. That power of discrimination that's able to see the truth, to see the divine. So that's fundamental wisdom. So when we meditate to open that eye or put on the tilak or chant or do all of the things that we do to work on the third eye, work with the energy centers, the chakras, it's not just some sort of theoretical thing that my chakras should be open. It's because that leads to the end of suffering. It leads to me being able to see truth. So as we move into Mahashivratri, it's yet another aspect to pray to, is help me open that third eye so that I too can see truth, so I too can live in wisdom. And from there, everything else comes. It's interesting if you look at geniuses throughout history. All different cultures, all different races, all different religions, not just smart people, but your actual Einstein-like geniuses, including Einstein. And you actually study how they came up with whatever it was, their thing that made the world know they are a genius. It almost never comes in, I was poring away over my notes, and suddenly I finally solved the equation. It's so frequently things like, I was walking in the woods, and I saw the sun, and then I knew. Or I was drifting off to sleep and then I saw it and I knew. Or I had my eyes closed, or I was looking at the fire, the flames of the fire in the fireplace, and I knew. It's coming from a place of open-eyed ability to see. So from that, literally everything else comes. This brings to a close this hour of inspiration and transformation. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be together with you all each week. And I look forward to being together again next Thursday, same time, on Om Times Radio.